From sprawling campuses whose aged grounds are purportedly stalked by the restless spirits of faculty members long deceased, to historic universities whose halls are roamed by the souls of students who lost their way. Are you ready to delve into our fourth list of some of the most haunted colleges in the U.S.? Number 5. The University of Montana. The University of Montana, located in Missoula, Montana, is a public research university recognized for its role as the state's flagship university, as well as for holding the title of being its second largest campus. Historically, planning for the school would start in 1881, with 72 sections being assigned by Congress for the formation of a university in the Montana Territory. In 1889, Montana would be admitted to the Union, and in 1893, construction of some of the institution's first buildings was launched. The university would open its doors in 1895, while planning for its campus was still underway. Classes were temporarily hosted at the nearby Willard School site, and from 1945 to 1965, the institution's title was altered to Montana State University, before eventually being reverted to its former title, which it still holds to this day. In the present, the University of Montana accommodates around 11,000 students, is comprised of 11 full colleges across its 220 acres, and, according to legend, holds a range of otherworldly infestations. One more prominent ghost story surrounding Brantley Hall tells that during the Wall Street crash of 1929, one female student's family ranch was lost, resulting in her taking her own life on campus. Her presence has been known to move objects, play small pranks, and has even materialized to select living. In the main hall, students have reported disembodied screams and objects sighted floating. A spectral dog, a ghostly young girl, and a phantom patron have been encountered at the university theater. In the tunnel systems below the school, which is now closed by security gates, many have described strange knocking and scratching sounds accompanied by ominous whispering. And across campus, and confined to no area in particular, the entity of a man in a red flannel who's leading a German shepherd has been spied. Lastly, within Jeanette Ranking Hall, some tell of encounters with an entire classroom full of ghosts that quickly fades from sight when noticed. Number 4. Texas Tech University. Texas Tech University, located in Lubbock, Texas, is a public research university acting as the main institution out of 5 total in the institution Texas Tech University system, that also boasts the title of being the only campus in the state to host a law school, medical school, and major university on its grounds. Initially called the Texas Technical College, the school was first established on February 10th of 1923. Construction would begin a year later in 1924, and classes would officially start in 1925. In 1969, the school's name would be altered to Texas Tech University to more accurately describe its academic standing. The same year, its School of Medicine would open its doors. In 1979, this smaller branch would undergo expansions to form the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, and in 2010, the entirety of the campus would undergo multiple expansions and additions to meet its ever-growing student populace. Today, Texas Tech accommodates around 36,000 enrollments, offers more than 150 courses of study across 13 colleges, hosts 60 separate research facilities, and, as students and faculty tell it, houses a number of chilling hauntings. At the Geosciences building during the Tech Carol of Lights, many have described sighting a ghostly silhouette in the top center window, who always appears to gaze over the memorial circle as all lights are illuminated. In Horn/Knapp Hall, many encounter the spirit of a little boy who is said to have died in the storage room, and who's been known to knock on doors and roll a ball to unsuspecting passerby. And at the Beta Theta Pi frat, residents have told of shadowy entities that stalk the living, and of run-ins with a male figure who's often sighted staring from its windows. Dead bodies for study have been stored at Thompson Hall, and the many who frequent it have told of lights turning off on those exploring alone, and of full-bodied apparitions that are so prevalent they've even been documented on security cameras. And at the Ranching Heritage Center, a woman in white, believed to be the wife of the structure's original owner, has been sighted on its upper floors, so often it's resulted in multiple calls to the police, who always arrive to find the area empty. Lastly, at the water tower, and only on the coldest nights of the year, the apparition of a group of young men has been witnessed since 1950. Number 3. Morehead State University. Morehead State University, located out of Morehead, Kentucky, is a public research university boasting the prestigious title of being 17th on a list of best public regional universities in the South, courtesy of the U.S. News & World Report's 2020 rankings, as well as of being the 40th amongst all other southern regional universities. Historically, the school was opened as Morehead Normal School in 1887 and was hosted out of a small cottage on lands now holding the Adrian Doran University Center. Following the Kentucky General Assembly's establishment of a more formal Morehead State Normal School, this earlier school would close its doors, with the new state site accepting its first students in 1923. The school's title would be subject to several alterations through the 20th century, before, in 1966, landing on our current Morehead State University. In 2014, the Craft Academy for Excellence in Science and Mathematics, a pre-college high school, was established and accommodates around 146 high school juniors and seniors path toward university studies. Morehead remains open into the present, holding a student populace of around 10,000 across a 700-acre campus, a campus that has seemingly always been saturated in local legends and tales of paranormal phenomena. Butler Hall is rumored to be haunted by a former resident who passed within, and those frequenting its bounds have described strange noises and footsteps from empty rooms, constant malfunctions with computers and TV sets, and extreme cold spots. On the third floor of Waterfield Hall, namely right near room 358, doors have been sighted opening and closing on their own, phones die at abnormal rates, and unearthly screams are heard emanating from thin air. One popular story surrounding Nun Hall tells that it's stalked by the spirit of a former student named Penelope, whose manifestation is usually sighted in the early morning or at night, and who's fond of messing with the lights. It's rumored that, in life, Penelope was dating someone her parents didn't approve of and became pregnant, resulting in her ending her own life by way of jumping from the building. Lastly, at Button Auditorium, sometime through the 1980s, a custodian who was cleaning a large clock hanging from the balcony slipped and fell to his death, and those who sit near his point of impact have described feeling an overwhelming crushing sensation, accompanied by an odd smell. Number 2. The University of Tampa. The University of Tampa, based out of Tampa, Florida, is a private university that's central building once housed the Tampa Bay Hotel, a resort building constructed by Henry B. Plant in 1891. That's distinguishable Moorish minarets atop its roof stand as an iconic symbol of the prestigious old city. Historically, in 1931, Frederick H. Spaulding would establish Tampa Junior College to act as one of the first institutions of higher learning in the Bay Area, with most classes initially held in the evenings or at night in the Hillsborough High School. In 1933, the school would migrate to the recently vacated Tampa Bay Hotel on a plot sitting directly across from downtown on the opposite banks of the Hillsborough River, and through the move, the school would alter its name to our current University of Tampa. In 1941, UT would sign a 99-year lease on the former resort, with the main building's moniker altered to Plant Hall. Over the years, the college would purchase additional lands, and from 1998 into the present, more than $575 million would be dumped into the construction and renovation of the campus. Today, UT accommodates more than 8,300 students, both undergrad and grad, across a 200-acre expanse, and amongst staff, workmen, and the enrolled, a number of stories of supernatural activity have persisted. Most hauntings on campus are rumored to emanate from Plant Hall from its days as a hotel, during which an actress named Bessie caught her husband cheating, and, in desperation, ended her life within her room. Her spirit, a beautiful woman in an old-fashioned red dress, has been encountered across the property. Also reported at Plant are encounters with the full-bodied apparition of a man in a brown suit with glowing red eyes, who's usually spied on the stairs. This is believed to be the restless soul of Henry Plant himself, and local legend tells one should avoid eye contact, as he has a habit of rushing at or chasing those who meet his gaze. Reported across the whole of the campus, and not tied to any area in particular, are doors that open and close on their own, disembodied footsteps and voices from empty rooms, and the inexplicable feelings of being watched, stalked, or even touched by something unseen. And a handful of informal investigations have yielded high EMF levels, extreme temperature fluctuations, and documentation of objects moving on their own. Lastly, located off campus but still acting as part of the school, the Frank Theater is purported to be stalked by the specter of an actress who hanged herself on site. Number 1. Moravian University. Moravian University, located out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, is a private university boasting both the impressive title of being the 6th oldest college in the whole of the U.S., as well as progressively the first to open its doors to female students. Historically, this institution's roots can be traced back to the Bethlehem Female Seminary of 1742, which was the first boarding school to open to young women in the U.S. The same year, 2 additional boys' schools were founded, and in 1759, all institutions were merged to Nazareth Hall. In 1863, the female seminary was incorporated under Pennsylvania state legislature. In 1913, the school would be transformed into the Moravian Seminary and College for Women, and in 1954, the 2 schools would combine to form the singular coeducational Moravian College. In 2021, Moravian College would receive university status approval from the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and on July 21st of the same year, its title would be altered to Moravian University. This old school remains open into the present, toting an enrollment of around 2,000 across an 85-acre campus, and over its lengthy existence, a number of ghost stories have blossomed from within. One more popular tale tells that when the Alpha Sigma Tau sorority was still in a state, that a maid named Alicia became pregnant with the owner's child, resulting in him killing her to protect his reputation by pushing her down a flight of stairs. Alicia's spirit has been encountered, most often in the attic, and those frequenting the building have described disembodied footsteps, voices heard from empty rooms, and instances in which all male portraits on the walls are flipped around or covered in under impossible time frames. A spectral light has been sighted drifting about Comenius Hall, with many theorizing it could be the soul of the man the structure was named after. Those frequenting the music building have reported cold spots, shadowy entities, the constant feeling of being watched, doors that open and close on their own, and encounters with the spirit of a Revolutionary War-era nurse. And in the Wilhelm dorm, mainly at night, students have told of strange scratching and banging heard from within the walls. Disturbingly, through the 1960s, 3 individuals hanged themselves in the basement of Rao Dorm, and activity within has been described as so intense the entire area stays locked down all year. That is, until Halloween, when the annual haunted house is hosted in the deep, dark belly of the building. Lastly, at the main hall, both faculty and students have reported encounters with a ghostly cat, a spectral little girl, and phantom medical staff in old-fashioned garb. In consideration of its infinitely intriguing past, coupled with a truly impressive assortment of associated paranormal activity and urban legends, we felt Moravian University was an educated choice as this episode's most haunted college in the US. Thanks for joining us for our 4th installment of Haunted Colleges in the US. If you enjoyed our histories and ghost stories, make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn notifications on. Throw us a like, and most importantly, share us with anyone you feel could use a good scare. We'll see you next time.